So the first topic I want to talk about is that the Legend of Zelda live action movie has a release date. It's coming on March 26, 2027. Now, when it comes to this news, I don't really feel one way or another about it. Like, I'm not really excited for this movie, and that's just because I never really played the Zelda games. I know they're extremely popular games, and it totally makes sense why Nintendo's making a movie because of the fact that this is one of the most popular property. It's just I'm not familiar with the characters in the games, with the world, with the lore. I remember having the Zelda GameCube collection. I just never really got into playing them. So for me personally, this news isn't the most exciting news for me, but I am happy for fans of the game series. Like, I'm happy for fans that love the games that they're going to get a movie. And I could change my mind when it comes to my excitement for this movie when I see the trailer when it gets closer to being released and who's involved. Like, I know Wes Bell, the director. I'm familiar with the director because he did the Maze Runner movies, which I enjoyed but didn't love them. But he also did the Kid and Planet of the Apes, the latest Planet of the Apes movie, which I thought was great. So I think they have a really solid to great director to direct this movie. So I love the choice directing who's directing this movie wise. It's just when it comes to the idea of the Zelda movie, I just need to see like a trailer and see who else is involved to get me as someone who's not a Zelda fan really excited for this movie. But like I said, I think this is great news for fans who love the game series, so I'm very happy for the Zelda fans. The next topic is I'm going to be putting on a video today where I go over all the Avengers Doomsday, the half of the cast that got announced a couple of days ago. The one thing I didn't really talk about in that video I'm going to be putting up today, though, is there's a lot of theories going around that fans say this could lead to the X-Men versus Avengers, where you have the Fox X-Men fighting the MCU's version of whatever Avengers they have left, or the new Avengers are going to form. And look, I think you could see elements of that. I know there was the Avengers versus X-Men comic, where the X-Men and Avengers did fight in a big comic event. And like any comic book movie, they take some elements from certain stories. So I think you could see elements of that story. And I know like the theory is that fans have is Doctor Doom maybe recruiting some of the Fox X-Men members, which is why you have like a good amount of Fox X-Men members for half the cast so far. And I think that would be cool if you did that. I think that could be like maybe an element of the story where you have all these incursions happening, and maybe Doctor Doom recruits some Fox X-Men characters or variants of the X-Men, and it leads to them fighting whatever the Avengers are going to be in the Avengers Doomsday. I don't think you get like a full adaptation of that comic, and I don't think that would be like the whole. I don't see that being like the whole plot of the movie because of the fact you have Doctor Doom as the main villain. But I think you could get elements of that story, and maybe this could set up the idea of doing like a Avengers vs X Men, like full on Avengers vs X Men movie someday. I do think that you're not going to see like I said, like a full Avengers vs X Men movie with Avengers Doomsday. I think you could see, like I said, elements, but I don't think it'll be like the whole movie is gonna be about the Avengers and X Men fighting each other. I think you could see some X Men members maybe on Doctor Doom's side, where he recruits some X Men members, like I said. But I don't think this would be like a full Avengers versus X Men movie though. I, but I think this could be. I think you could see elements of that with the Doctor Doom recruiting maybe X Men members. So it's definitely like some interesting theories going around about this, where that idea of it. And who knows, it could play out in the movie. We'll have to wait and see with Avengers Doomsday, but I'm definitely excited for Avengers Doomsday with all these cast announcements so far. And you're going to see when I talk about my past video, I'm really curious to see who else they're going to announce for the cast of that movie. The next topic is, they put out a new IMAX trailer for Sinners, which I've been really excited for this movie. Every trailer has been great. Even the second trailer, it revealed a little too much. I still think that was a great trailer because I just think Ryan Coogler is a fantastic director. And anytime him and Michael B. Jordan work together, they usually put out some really good to great movies when they're working together. And just like I love the Southern Louisiana like style, and I love the music in the trailers. And I thought, oh, this was a great trailer. It looks great. I'm always like looking out for some cool new vampire movies. That's somebody who loves horror movies. And I love how in the beginning of the trailer you get a little bit more with the twins' dad and talking about in his trailers how they have some darkness to them. and you get a little bit about the dad at the end of the trailer where they talk about that. So I do think overall this is another great trailer. I'm loving the vibe of this movie, and hopefully this lives up to expectations because this is one of my most anticipated movies of the year. It's definitely one of my most anticipated movies next month that's coming out. So hopefully it ends up being really good to great. But overall, I think this is a great new IMAX trailer for cinemas. The next topic is Thunderbolts. So there's been early tracking put out for Thunderbolts. I'm really excited for this movie. Now let me say this: this is early tracking. You still have some time before this movie comes out, so you still have some time for the studio to promote the movie. So I wouldn't like with tracking since it's early tracking too. Tracking numbers could go up when they get to promoting the movie more. So we'll see. Tracking can always sometimes be off. It can be on point. It can be higher. And since they still have some time to promote this movie, Disney, this is just early tracking. So the early tracking for Thunderbolts is saying 67 to 82, which I think this would be a great opening for a movie about the characters that are not A-list characters and are all like supporting characters from other MCU movies. I think this is a great start for this movie. I mean, I'm gonna guess the budget for this movie is probably 100 something. I don't know the budget for Thunderbolts, but I'm gonna assume it's 100 something. And I think this would be a great start. And if the movie gets really good word of mouth, because I think a lot of people are excited for it. I mean, you saw Fango's list where it is on the top 10 list, and I think the trailers have been fantastic for it. It's like I love the latest trailer where it was kind of like an A24, where it looked like kind of like an A24 independent movie. And I think the trailers have done that just looked really fun. I love the banter in the trailers. So I think this is great early tracking. I can see the numbers going up the closer they get to the release date of this movie. But I think this is a great sign that people are excited for this movie. The next topic, and this is going to be put in the category of rumor. I don't really like to talk about rumors that much because it's not officially confirmed news. But I thought this would be a sign to talk about if this ends up being true. Again, this is reportedly being rumored. This news. This isn't officially confirmed news. This is just rumored. So I just want to make that clear about this. So the rumors going around is that the director of the John Wick movies is being enlisted to direct the MCU Blade reboot. And I know the MCU Blade reboot has gone through multiple directors. I know they had a director attached to it. It's been through multiple writers. I mean, the movie was announced back in like 2019 at Comic-Con. And look, I've been really excited for this movie despite all the multiple directors, multiple writers, because of Mahasali. Because you can see he has very much a lot of passion for the character. And I want to see MCU's version of like vampires, and I love the character Blade. So I know there's been reports going around this movie's been put on indefinite hold. Those are rumored, so I don't really buy that. I do think this movie's gonna happen. But I do think it's probably gonna happen after the next two Avengers movies, personally. But when it comes to these rumor reports, if this ends up being true, I think this would be a great lesson directing wise to direct a Blade movie. I think it would be a great choice because of the fact that you look at John Wick movies, they have great action. One of the things about the Wesley Snipes Blade movies is that, at least when it came to his movies, you had action elements in Wesley Snipes Blade movies. I could see him doing some great action scenes for a new Blade MCU movie. And I look at the John Wick movies, and one of the things I really love about John Wick movies is they do a great job of setting up the world and lore of the John Wick, of his world in the movies, about like the assassin world and all the little mythology they have in those John Wick movies. Because with the Blade MCU reboot, you're going to have to introduce the idea of vampires, which we haven't seen in MCU so far. So I do think you need to do some setting up there to really explain how those vampires exist in the MCU world. And I think he really does a great job in the John Wick movies of having great action and really interesting characters, and doing a great job of having like great lore building in the John Wick movies. So I think it would be a great choice personally. Actually, like, I was excited for that Blade MCU reboot, but I was starting to lose like a little hope because of the fact that this movie's been through so many directors and writers, and that has me a little worried because look at the Flash movie, and that went through so many directors and writers, and that movie ended up being a fun movie. But on rewatches, that movie didn't hold up for me. So hopefully, if this report turns out to be true, I think this would be a great choice. I think the John Wick director directed all John Wick movies. I think it would be a fantastic, great choice. And I think that would be a really exciting choice. I think that would get fans really pumped up and excited because of what you've seen in John Wick movies. And I do think you need to have some great ass in a Blade movie. So again, this is rumored, but I think this would be a great choice if the director John Wick ends up directing the MCU Blade reboot. So that's all the movie topics today. Until next time, movie fans.